Hey everybody, it's Luke with Figure Me Out, and today we've got the Marvel Legends Hydro Man from the molten-man wave of action figures. Looking at the box, we've got the spider logo on the top there. On the side, we've got some nice artwork of Hydro Man. Same thing on the other side. On the bottom, we've got some words, and on the back, we've got a read-up. If you want to read that, go ahead and give it a pause right now. Otherwise, we're going to go ahead and crack him open and take him over to the light box. Taking a look first here at the Build-A-Figure piece, we've got the head of Molten Man, and that looks really cool. It's got a nice little lava and gold effect to it. Those eyes with the yellow, it makes it kind of pop a little bit. It definitely looks very evil, kind of like a skull sort of thing. So that's kind of cool. We'll take a closer look at that once we put him together. But looking at the effects that Hydro Man came with, we've got these little swishy things that go around his feet. I guess they're supposed to be like water splashing up that he's, coming out of. And they look pretty good for the most part. They're kind of hollow on the inside, and there's one for each side, for each foot. They're kind of faced in. Let me go that way. Yeah, so you can see the feet are kind of faced inward. So, but they look pretty good. They're actually, it's not the same thing twice. They're a little bit different on either side. So that's really neat. And then taking a look at Hydro Man himself, and that face sculpt's pretty good, I guess. Looks like a guy, and he's got a lot of wrinkles. Looks like an older gentleman. I don't know. Middle-aged, I guess I should say. But looks pretty good. This body is the exact same body from the Luke Cage figure from last year or year before, somewhere in there. Same one that was in the San Diego Comic-Con pack and the 2-pack with Claire. It's the exact same body. So, and then looking at the arms, they do transition down here. The arms are a little different though because they transition. They got that water effect where it comes over, and then you've got the big water arms down there. As far as the pants go, I think on Luke Cage they were a little different. Maybe the jeans weren't so much. I know the shirt was yellow and then red instead of black, and then the shoes were not this color brown, but that is a good tan. It kind of looks like some work boots or something. They do have a pick hole at the bottom, so that looks really good, but it's the same shoes that Luke Cage had as well. So let's go ahead and take this guy out and talk about articulation. So talking about articulation, and that is where he very much falls apart. Let's go ahead and take these feet piece off here. The head looks up okay. Looks up pretty good. Looks down really good. You get side to side, you get the smallest amount of pivot. So a little bit of attitude there. The arms go out really good. They have a full rotation at the shoulder. They have a single jointed elbow with a swivel, but here's where it falls apart for me personally. This is the amount of range that you get out of the elbow. This is fully down, and that is fully up. And that is fully unacceptable. Hasbro, terrible, terrible job. Everything else about this figure, the translucent blue looks good, the great body choice, everything. That articulation at that elbow ruins this whole thing for me. I mean, I can't get over it. I've been trying to convince myself for the past couple days, oh, it's not that bad. It's okay, but on both sides, that to that, what is that, like 15 degrees? Garbage, absolute garbage elbow joint. Not even acceptable. That's terrible. Hasbro, shame on you. And you got the swivel on this one as well. At the hinge, there's a wrist hinge that hinges down and up. No alternate arms or anything either, so you're stuck with basically just him having his arms out to the side like this. The fist side goes in a little bit as well. Goes back some. You get a waist swivel. Everything else is fine. Waist swivel, ab crunch forward, pretty good. Back, pretty good. You can't really see because of the arm there. Back, pretty good. Waist swivel. Legs go out. Looks good. Legs go forward. Looks good. They don't really go back. Not a big deal. Thigh swivel, double jointed knee, goes in good. And then the ankles, down a little bit, up a little bit. Crazy ankle rocker pivot a little bit, but man, those elbows, I can't get over it. This would be almost a perfect figure if it wasn't for these elbows. It's just trash. Here he is next to a couple of other villains from Spider-Man. We've got the Sandman there on the left. That's the Build-A-Figure. And then we've got the Dr. Octopus from the SPDR wave there on the right. Here he is next to a few other rogues from Spider-Man's gallery. We've got Green Goblin there, Electro, Kraven, and Vulture from the 2-pack. That one's from the Rhino Build-A-Figure wave, I think. Space Venom, and I can't remember what Green Goblin, what his wave was, but it's been a couple years, so Forgive me. Here he is next to Luke Cage and Spider-Man. This is the Spider-Man Homecoming figure, and then Luke Cage from the Luke Cage Claire Temple 2-pack. And like I said, you can see they're using the exact same body there. Pretty much neck down. The only difference is the arms and the head on these, and then the paint. Finally, here he is next to a couple more Spider-Man. We've got the Select over here. We've got the Mezco 112PX exclusive black suit Spider-Man. We've got the Skull Trooper from McFarlane's Fortnite series of figures. And we've got the Mezco 112th Iron Man. And I think he looks pretty good with the Marvel stuff and with the Mezco stuff. You can kind of fit that in. He's a little short for the Select though, but Select is a larger line, 7-inch scale versus the 6-inch scale, so that makes sense. So that's him. That's the Marvel Legends Hydro Man from the molten-man wave of action figures. And I gotta say, I'm really disappointed in those elbows. Everything else looks great. The sculpt looks great. It's a good body choice. Like I said, the accessories, those are cool. The leg things. But with the arms not being more articulated, it stinks, because anytime you try and get him into a position, if you change the arms at all, he wants to tip over because they're so heavy. And if you could just bend them, and you could have just a little bit of bend to it, it would shift that off a little bit. It would shift that weight, and he wouldn't be so just goofy and so wonky. And then the more you put his feet in these things, they kind of, limit the articulation of the foot a little bit, so you kind of, it's like he's standing in mud or something. But like I said, anytime you move these things, it's just, they're giant and they're heavy, and he is a bulky and heavy figure, but what can you do? Hasbro, give us better elbows in the future. This is unacceptable. Anyway, what did you guys think? Hit like, hit subscribe. Check me out over on Instagram, Luke_figuremeout at Instagram.com. And in the meantime, happy collecting.